From the pit lane to the podcast, we are Bromula One. I'm Steven.
And I'm Ryan.
And we just got done watching the 2023 Japanese Grand Prix. There's a lot to talk about.
Oh, there sure is. What an interesting one today.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack. Kind of a war of attrition. Starting off right off the bat, we had some pretty cool lap one antics. Pretty good start by Norris. Almost got Max into turn one and kind of caused a little bit of a kerfuffle with his teammate, Piastri. Maybe playing some hard racing, elbow racing. What do you think?
Yeah, it was a fun battle with the McLaren cars. Piastri was pretty well matched with Norris, I think, in the early stages of the race. And then we're going to talk about some team orders that we saw pop up between those McLaren boys, which, I don't know. Were you excited about that, Steven?
I think they covered it in the broadcast a little bit. Norris has been on the receiving end of a lot of team orders, the beneficiary of those team orders, and we haven't really seen a whole lot go Piastri's way. There was an undercut happened in Singapore. Piastri outqualified Norris this weekend. But, I think overall, Norris just definitely had the pace. If you look at the gap at the end, it was like an 18-second gap. So he had the pace. I can't fault them for inverting the cars, but I'd like to see him let him race. We see that from Mercedes today. We've seen that from Ferrari. We see that from Red Bull. All these top teams are allowing their cars to race. And McLaren, get on board, man. Let them race.
Yeah, it would have been exciting. Norris was going to get him anyway, but I can see why they did it. I understand.
It makes us listeners feel like there's, some sort of entitlement with some of these drivers.
Little bit.
I think right now it feels like there's like this head-to-head battle of who's the most entitled driver on the grid between Russell and Norris. And I don't know. Who do you think's winning right now?
Well, who has the most entitled driver?
Yeah.
Probably Russell still. I mean, Caleb last week or earlier this week forecasted him for a podium. And Russell was desperate on the radio at times, asking what I can do to get, fight for a proper race result.
Yeah, he was at it again. With Hamilton, though, Hamilton had a mistake. They had a little tussle. I think Lewis kind of took a page from Max Verstappen in Brazil of 2021, forced both cars all the way off. Conveniently enough, though, no investigation necessary. So the FIA has deemed that a legal move, ladies and gentlemen. You can force both cars all the way off the track. And you've heard it here first. Both events didn't get a penalty. What do you think?
Well, what are rules anymore? There's not a lot of consistency, it seems. Some interesting penalties, some weird things going on with Checo Perez rejoining the race 25 laps down. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, folks, 25 laps after he retired. They put him back in the car. You nailed it when we were watching the race live. You said, Checo's in timeout right now. They put him in there. He was sitting in the car for like 15 minutes.
For real.
Tire blankets were on. They had fixed the car. Come on. What was that?
He had to serve some penalty. Was that the one for knocking Magnussen off? That move was never going to stick. What an awful pass. I think even in the podium driver debrief room,
yeah,
didn't one of the drivers make a comment like, "Oh, interesting."
I wasn't sure if that was Max or Norris.
I don't know either. Not a great day for Checo Perez. Weird thing where he had to serve this penalty so it didn't carry over into some sort of penalty for the next race.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's going to get looked at by the FIA because that was silly.
Yeah, definitely seemed like a loophole that they found within the rules. Because even when he came out, he finished one lap, boxed, served the penalty. They didn't touch the car, sent him out again, and then we knew we're going to retire the car. But definitely a loophole in the rules, it seems, but they've got to close that up, right?
I would hope so. Because it was a strange one. I've never seen anything like that before.
We didn't even think that was allowed.
Right.
We got to look kind of into the rules to see what it means to be a DNF or a retirement of a car. And we've seen like Yuki Tsunoda in the past be released back out to the track with damage and whatnot. So it begs the question, what caused them to retire that car to begin with? And were those issues resolved? They might have some splaining
to do.
Exactly. So let's get into our predictions, see
Let's
how
do it.
well we did.
Should we start with Caleb?
Yeah, we'll start with our resident Lando Norrissian, is what we're gonna call Lando fans.
Rando or Lando?
Lando
Norrissian.
Lando Norrissian. He's
Got
he's a big Norris fanboy. So Caleb had Charles Leclerc first, Norris second. Big points there.
There you go.
Good call. And then Hamilton third. Not bad.
Close.
Pretty close. What did he finish? Fifth?
Yeah, fourth, right just off the podium.
Okay. I think
Wasn't it? Oh no,
I
he
think
did
Charles
Charles
got
had
fourth.
fourth.
Yeah.
Yep. Lewis in fifth.
But man, what a race! You got the opportunity to run his teammate off the road and no penalties. But yeah, he did have more pace than Russell. It's unfortunate. Russell was going well, but you don't want to fight with the 7-time world champion.
Oh, sorry.
And then for the weekend wanker, Caleb had Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, I think he predicted Hamilton would be out qualified by Russell,
Okay.
but Hamilton got him by 0.3 in Q3.
I can't blame him for predicting this though, because if you look at the head-to-head battle this year, I think it's 8-8 now.
I think that's right.
And coming into this weekend, Russell had the advantage.
Mhm.
So you really don't expect Russell, of all people, to out-qualify 7-time world champion, right?
Is that Russell getting better or Hamilton showing his age?
Hamilton did call himself out. He said it's been really shit in qualifying these past 2 years, and I don't think he's wrong.
Yeah.
He has phenomenal race pace. Race trim has always been, exceptional. But you gotta put it together on Saturday too. Let's go to your predictions. You had Max winning,
Mm-hmm.
Norris second,
Woohoo!
double points for you there, and then Hamilton third.
It's off by a couple positions. but
Pretty
close
darn
enough.
good though.
Yeah.
And then your wanker was
Lance Stroll.
DNF, but still 5 laps up on Perez.
That's true. To Lance's credit, it wasn't his fault. He had a clean race up until that point. Didn't really have a lot of pace, really, compared to Alonso. But I guess he had a rear wing failure, and so he did not finish.
Yeah, usually it's a driver failure for them, but this time it's a rear wing. So, and we actually know that Lawrence is a listener to the podcast, right?
Oh yeah, Daddy Stroll's a big fan of the podcast. We're sorry that your son didn't see the checkered flag, but tune in again next week.
It's the rear wing's fault, though, Ryan. It's not his fault. So my predictions were Max win, Carlos Sainz P2.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of let me down there on that one, but I had Norris P3.
Solid.
What a freaking podium we had! Oscar Piastri.
Double podium for McLaren. Good job from them. And what about those trophies? Did you see?
Those were pretty sick.
You kiss it and it lights up to the color of your flag. I think
Yeah.
only Max figured it out. The others couldn't quite.
They didn't kiss it properly.
Right.
I think it was either the hand position or the lip position. I don't know.
Nah, I don't know either.
And then my wanker was Alex Albon. And we had a DNF by Albon.
Yeah.
I'm gutted for him.
Do we even know what happened to him?
Don't know.
Yeah.
He's still wanking it, though.
Those-
Weekend wanker.
5 DNFs. So 1 in 4 cars did not finish this race.
Yeah. We had there was an interesting moment where a car was retiring at the same time Perez was coming out. So we had a net 0 there. We lost a car, but gained one.
Momentarily.
Obviously, we got to touch on Red Bull securing their constructors title. They're 6th.
Yeah, hats off to them. Wrapped up that championship. I think Max can do it by himself, but good job, Checo. Yeah, he's contributed too.
Yeah. It's interesting. He literally did it by himself.
Yes.
Yeah. So
At the end of the season, he will have had enough points by himself to have won it.
once again, another maximum weekend points wise for Max. 26 points, 25 for the win, and 1 for fastest lap.
He's just on cruise control out there, man. He won by 19 seconds. He was not showing his true pace out there.
Yeah. Thank God for Carlos Sainz in Singapore, man. Otherwise, takes the whole season. No way. What else happened? The Mercedes battle, we touched on that. The penalties, they're getting kind of weird. We had multiple penalties that should have happened last week, but for some reason they were overlooked.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some privilege on the Max Verstappen side. But today, I don't know. I really feel like they should come hard on to Perez. Unacceptable moves.
Yeah, he needs some points added to his super license for that move on Magnussen there. That was never going to work. He was way too far back, and it's not a typical passing place. So,
For a good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very ambitious, and he ruined Magnussen's race.
Yeah. I think that's just kind of the name of the game for Perez right now. I think he's entering desperation mode. They've got in the Red Bull corral, they've got 5 drivers for 4 seats. It's a good problem to have, but it is a problem that they have to address. They have said that Perez is their driver for the Red Bull until 24, but we'll see.
Yeah, how much of that is just to keep Checo chill, or to try to keep him chill? But maybe behind the scenes, Danny Rick is trying on some Red Bull suits.
Yeah,
getting fitted.
Liam Lawson had a great result today.
Sure did. P11, right?
Yep, just outside the points. He beat his teammate. I don't think we actually saw how that happened. At one point they pit, and I think there was an undercut happening. But hey, we'll take the P11 for Liam Lawson. So close.
Yeah. Didn't he make a pass? Liam had a good pass on somebody. I can't recall who it was going into turn 1.
Yeah, he had just pit, and I think it was on an Alpine, I want to say, or maybe Alonso. I don't know.
Yeah, good race from him.
Yeah, overall very good.
Maybe his last race of the season with Danny Rick coming back.
But look at how he's done. He's brought the car home every single time.
Sure has, yeah.
And he is learning as he's driving these tracks. It's pretty interesting to see the contrast in this rookie and a Oscar Piastri versus someone like a Logan Sargent.
Poor Logie Sarge. Man. Do you think his days are numbered? And if so, who gets his seat?
I want him to be good.
I know, me too.
He's such a good kid. He's saying all the right things. He's doing all the wrong things. When will it end?
Maybe sooner than we would like.
Yeah. I can't see them re-signing Logan Sargent. He's just not adding anything to the team.
Right.
He's costing them more money than he's giving them. It's rough.
It's too bad.
Yeah. So next race, do we know that's Qatar, right?
It is.
And we expect to see Danny Rick back. Man, Lawson back to the Sims doesn't seem right.
But hey, what a great run he's had. What an opportunity for a reserve driver to come in and show what he's made of. And I think he nailed it. I think he's set himself up for success. And I hope he finds a race seat soon.
Yeah, absolutely. There's not any other driver that I think is more deserving, and it's showing in his result. But to your point, who else could be in that Williams seat? Could we see Liam Lawson jump over?
I think that's a hard sell. He's part of the Red Bull family, and Williams is a Mercedes engine customer. So there are ties there, however distant, to the Mercedes Works team. So I think it would be a huge gamble for Red Bull to let Lawson off on such a long leash.
Yeah.
I think it'd be tricky. So I don't know who would go in that seat, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe one of the younger F2 phenoms. It doesn't really seem to be the standout that we've seen in the past. When Russell, Norris, Piastri came through the lower ranks, it was pretty obvious that they were going to be something special. Sargent had question marks even when he was coming in. I don't see another driver that is emphatically, pushing to get that seat.
Yeah, you've got the likes of Teo Porcher, Felipe Drugovich, but those are both tied to other teams.
Drugovich is in Aston Martin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why did they last race? They could have put him out. Stroll had a medical a DNS, did not start.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if it was something down to the car, just not being able to put it back together in time. Otherwise, it would just seem like a logical choice. Throw a rookie in there, throw Felipe in there, and see what he does.
Yeah,
I think we missed out on watching something special there.
Yeah, totally agree. So what are we looking to next? We've got
Qatar,
yeah. 6 races left. I don't see any weaknesses for Red Bull from here on out. That's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
But McLaren are charging, and it's not just Red Bull. It's basically just Max, because Perez can't pass people.
Poor guy.
Properly. Can pass them in interesting spots, but yeah.
Well,
in terms of the race, we had quite a few more stops than we expected. Poor Alonso started on the soft tires, And that was absolutely not the tire to be on this race.
No, it wasn't. And they pit him early. I think lap 12 he came in, and you could hear him on the radio just complaining. You've thrown me to the lions. You've pitted me too soon, and now I'm getting eaten up. And he did get eaten up.
Yeah.
He fell back pretty hard.
Do you think he was more upset that he was behind his former teammate in Ocon?
Oh,
he does not like being behind Ocon.
No, nobody likes being behind Ocon.
No. But he finished ahead of him, so there's that.
Fernando Alonso P8.
Yep. 4 points.
Esteban P9 and Alpine P10. I think the Alpines really benefited from the attrition because they were kind of nowhere in terms of qualifying and their race pace.
Yeah.
So they capitalized on the situation and brought home some points.
Yeah, good for them. Last year they ended ahead of McLaren and Aston Martin in the constructors. This year they're significantly far behind those teams.
Yeah.
They have not continued to develop very well, and they're barely squeaking out the likes of AlphaTauri and Haas.
Yeah.
They did not expect to be fighting with those teams. I think they hope to, jump to up to third or fourth even, and they're going the wrong direction.
It's a tough sport.
Yeah.
Competition is fierce.
Yeah. I want to kind of take a little bit of a sidetrack here,
Okay.
and just give a quick thank you and shout out to all of our listeners. You guys are incredible. Also, Formula One is such a cool experience for us. We love talking about it. We chat, we argue, we discuss, we get heated sometimes, but it's all in good fun. You can keep it between the lines, if you will. Unlike Lewis, didn't keep it on track today.
You won't let that one go.
No. With how much I had to hear about 2021 Brazil, and he does the same thing. Come on. No, but real quick, yesterday I went up to the lake with some family friends, and we had a good time. And it's cool to see how many more people are getting into the sport. I had a great discussion with a couple of friends out there who didn't realize they're fans of Formula One. And we had some good banter back and forth. They were Lewis fans, and being a Max fan, that's obviously oil and water. But to have good, healthy discussions, but to keep it civil, that's really important.
Yeah, indeed. Thankfully, it doesn't seem to be a sport where you have too many diehards who latch onto one person, one team, and give the middle finger to everybody else. At least I personally found myself rooting for multiple teams, multiple drivers. I just like the dynamic as a whole. And what's great about this sport is it's international, right? So this morning, to celebrate watching the Formula One race in Japan, we made a traditional Japanese breakfast, TKG. If you haven't heard of it, look it up. It's an awesome little egg and rice dish. So it's fun. You get little glimpses into culture as we travel around the world watching the show.
Try something new, folks. Get in there. Pick something from other people's culture and make it a part of your life, even for just one moment. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And thanks for bringing that dish to us, Ryan. It was pretty yummy. I enjoyed it.
Glad you liked it.
And we're gonna have to be a little creative for next race. I don't know any Qatar dishes.
Yeah. Is it just typical Middle Eastern food? I'm sure they have some sort of national dish or something unique to them. So we'll have to look that up and see.
Absolutely. Well, let's wrap it up. I think that does it for us. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think had a fun time watching the race. I love the track. That figure 8 design is really cool. Even had somebody pass into 130R. Who was that again? Was that Lewis on Alonso, maybe?
Oh yeah, I think it was.
Pretty spectacular. Unusual place to pass.
Very unusual. Although, there was a tire advantage there for sure. Poor guy was getting eaten up by the lions. I think that's got to be his favorite animal, right? We've heard him talk about lions.
Yeah, fighting like a lion, defending like a lion, eaten by lions.
He doesn't like lions.
I guess not.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see you next week. Can't wait to have Caleb back. We missed you, buddy. And until next time, bye.
Thanks, guys.